Hello everybody, how are you? My name is Kylie Enkelmann and I do fertility coaching. I am an energy healer and a transformational coach, and a few years ago I went on a very big personal odyssey to birth my baby into the world, and so I was diagnosed as medically infertile, and I was also just recently separated from my husband at the time, and so it was like a double whammy. So I went on a very, very big journey into the conception and conceiving of a baby, and it was a very tumultuous time. So the wonderful news for me was that I was successful in being able to have a baby. I have a little boy who's now 5 years old, and when he was little, I started doing fertility coaching for other women who are on a fertility journey and sharing my journey about being a solo mum by choice. So that's my background. It's been a while since I've really been actively doing this work with clients for many different reasons, and I went through a very tough, rough personal patch. And it just wasn't, I did not have the bandwidth to be able to support other women who are going through this. But I'm in a good place now. So I'm like, I've been getting the nudges from the universe, from life, to start sharing my viewpoint, my inner knowing, the truth that I cultivated, the truth that I discovered in my own fertility journey. So I'm going to be sharing a bit more about that now and over the coming weeks. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you hit like, follow, subscribe, whatever, all those things, and just so that way you can stay in touch whenever I do a post or do a video. Yeah, so the first one I wanted to chat about today was looking for signs from spirit. Now, I was talking to my little boy this morning. He loves being at home. He's a beautiful little kid. He's a Piscean, bit of a homebody like me, but we're very, very close. Anyway, we were having breakfast, and in the playlist we listen to music in the morning when we're getting ready for the day, and I saw on the playlist Beyonce's Halo, and I shared with him my experience of this song. So I actually had never heard this song, Halo, until it was like the night before. I remember it was the night before I was about to go for one of my, I think it was like it was either my first appointment with the fertility specialist, or it was the first appointment with my fertility specialist. I'd booked in, and I basically at that point thought I was just going to get some eggs frozen. But I was still pretty nervous about it. It was way outside of my comfort zone. I was embarking on I was in a situation in my life I just didn't see coming, because I was, I'd been with my partner for 13 years. We had, we'd been married, we'd had a house with a white picket fence, blah, blah, blah. And what happened was, it wasn't actually Beyonce's version of the song. It was like one of those talent quests, maybe the X Factor or something like that, Australian Idol. And anyway, someone sang Beyonce Halo, and it stopped me in my tracks. I'd never heard the song before, and this was in 2014, and Halo's been out since 2008. So I'm like, how did I not know that song? And if I had heard it, maybe it's really random. But I lived and worked in the heart of alternative Newtown, and Sydney is I was in a very different world from commercial hits, and so and I didn't really go to places where they'd be playing that sort of music, so I hadn't really heard that song, but it just stopped me in my tracks. It was so powerful, and I was like, whoa, what is this song? It's a big song, right? It's epic ballad. And then when I walked into the fertility specialist office for the first time, the song was playing, the same one. I went, hello, hello, okay, that's a good sign, because it's this synchronicity, powerful, got my attention. I'm like, that's a good sign. And then when I went to get a after my fertility specialist, that was a bit of a debacle because straight up she said, well, you're too old to get your eggs frozen. I was 37. You're too old. And, you know, she basically was like dishing out prognoses like that. Anyway, I went to have an ultrasound to do an egg count to see what my ovarian reserves were like. And so I remember walking in, so this was probably like a week later, maybe, if then, I walked into the ultrasound place, walked into the office, and the song was playing. And then, so it just was always this thing on my fertility journey that this song always played at really remarkable times when I was really just like way outside of my comfort zone, feeling really vulnerable, feeling very isolated, and could have been a little bit traumatic, you know, going to do all these things on my own when I'd been anticipating to be creating a family with my husband. You know, it was just like all of a sudden like this big rug pulled out from beneath my feet. And so that song for me became the anthem for the spirit of my child coming in. And it was, for me, I took it as a sign that spirit was with me, that my soul child, my soul baby was with me, and that every time I stepped outside my comfort zone, I just put that next step forward. You know, I just took that next step that I wasn't doing alone, even though I was physically doing it on my own as a solo parent by choice. I wasn't doing it alone because spirit was with me. Spirit was holding me, and that continued. Like, I can't tell you how many times that I had that sign. I received that sign. It's like, oh yeah, just coincidence, Kylie, because it's a really popular song. But literally in my world, it wasn't. Okay, and so every time it played, I got chills, and I was like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not alone, and I'm never actually alone. And so that's what I wanted to offer to you today. It was just to, on that journey, you know, we can see a sign like that and we can tell ourselves it's just a coincidence. We could see that sign and be like, oh, well, it doesn't really mean anything. Don't get your hopes up. But what I allowed myself to receive was just a gentle hug, a gentle reminder, a connection from life, spirit, the universe, God, that I wasn't doing it alone. And to just, I always received it as though a dear friend was just coming up and putting their arms around me and being like, we got you. You're not doing this alone. We've got you. And so I encourage you to open to that, receive that. Receive the signs, allow yourself to receive it in your heart, dare to hope, dare to say yes, and help you let go and release some of that hypervigilance, the protection and the guardedness about bad things happening or not working out. Let that stuff go, because that's not energy that is aligned with the celebration of receiving and creating and conceiving and gestating and all of those wonderful words. So I hope that's helpful. I do have a free Facebook group. If you're interested in that, I'll plot the link below this video, and you're welcome to come and talk to me in the group. And if you're a single mum by choice, then I also have a specific Facebook group for you. Now, I have been pretty very quiet in these groups until now, so I'm back. And I'm in a much better headspace to be able to hold space for these groups and to share some of my unique way of my perspective on these matters. So yeah, I'd love to see you in there. Take care. Lots of love, Kylie.